Hello and welcome, friends. It is the final Incredible Hulk podcast. Yes, it is.
No!
Roar!
Yes, we have reached the end, my friends, and what a ride it has been, as they say. I will do my big thank yous at the end. There's no point in wasting time here. We want to get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the final one. It was the last of the trilogy of the TV movies featuring the original TV cast, minus Jack Colvin. But we have Bill Bixby as David Banner, Lou Ferrigno as the Incredible Hulk, and it is the death of the Incredible Hulk.
I want to know that title, but okay, yeah, you know.
Well, no, that's sort of, I thought about, that's a big major spoiler in that title, really.
Just a bit, yeah, yeah. I wonder what's going to happen here. Is he going to Paris on holiday? Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right, yeah.
he's a superhero. He's not supposed to die.
No, none of them. No, that's right. They shouldn't really. I mean, but again, it's intriguing.
Marvel and DC killed him all the time. You know.
Yeah.
No. Bad idea.
But this was written by Gerald D. Pego, and directed again by Bill Bixby himself. So it co-starred, and you'll be able to fill us in a wee bit on these actors, because I'm sure you know who they are and other things. It co-starred Elizabeth Gracen as Yasmin.
Mm-hmm.
What is she famous for?
Hang on a second. Yeah.
Something called The Raven, I think it was called.
Is that the...
oh, God, is that Highlander spin-off?
Yeah, the Highlander spin-off.
Oh, that was god-awful.
Oh, that's a good start.
She was fine, but the whole concept was flawed.
Well, remember, it was the 90s. There wasn't a lot of wonderful 90s TV. The concept, it was kind of gimmicky. But hey, at least it was better than some of the Highlander movies. Especially after the third one, they really started getting a little dicey.
You're gonna have topic here. Continue with the cast there, Frank.
Oh yeah. We don't want to go through everything that we might be, but we run through them because I know that you'll know these people. Next is Andreas Casillas, I think it is, as Kasha, Philip Sterling, and Barbara Tarbuck as Ronald and Amy.
Yeah, what
Pratt,
a bunch of Pratts they were.
I was just in England, but Pratt means something completely different.
Yeah.
The other one I was just saying was the last one I mentioned was Anna Katerina as Bella Ulfashenko. Who was, of course, Yasmin's sister. Yeah. Anna Katerina now, incidentally, is now a singer, doing rather well. I think she does jazz singing. Just a few notes here. This story was originally going to feature the She-Hulk. And there was going to be a follow-up movie, possibly with Iron Man.
Bloody hell. Okay.
But it never got to that. But they was trying to get back to pilots for all these famous superheroes at that time, but none of them took off as much as the Hulk did, in a way. They tried to do it with Daredevil, they tried to do it with Thor, they were going to do it with She-Hulk, they were going to do it with Iron Man, all off the back of the Hulk movies.
Well, I think what they ended up doing after this was, for the majority of the 90s, they switched to the animated series, which were a bit...
That's right. Yes, they did. Yeah, that's right. Which I believe the 90s one, I think, featured Lou Ferrigno doing the Hulk voices on it.
Yeah, the She-Hulk cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah, he was involved in that. Yeah. Now, the follow-up was... The idea was that this film, even though... obviously the major spoiler is we know what happens, but there was going to be another film following after this.
Yep.
That was in the planning stages, quite well into them too. Part of the script was written, I think, and it was going to be called The Revenge of the Incredible Hulk.
I heard
written by the same writer as this one, Gerald D. Pego. And the idea was that it was going to involve Banner having been revived.
Revenge? I heard it was called Resurrection, but okay. Well,
yeah, maybe it went through a couple of names, mate. Yeah. I don't know. But as much as what the writer has said on, he mentioned that the bit of the plot was that Banner was going to be revived, but was no longer able to turn into the Hulk. So he begins to work for the government in order. I'm quoting exactly what it says on there. In order to prevent accidents like the one that happened to him, with the gamma thing.
Yep.
But he's captured by villains and coerced into turning their agents into Hulk-like beings. At the film's climax, Banner would be forced to recreate the accident that transformed him into the Hulk at the beginning in order to stop the villain's plans. And this was according to the scriptwriter. There you
Full
are.
circle type thing. Okay.
Yeah. So there we are. That's just a bit of backstory about that. So now we can go forward a bit to this story. Obviously, that's the one that did come out. And just to give you just to set the scene, we have an overhead shot of this laboratory, big laboratory or research building. David is undercover, working as a mild-mannered janitor.
Yeah,
and his name's
Hong Kong Fooey.
It's not Henry. No. And Dr. Pratt comes in and offers him a piece of carrot cake. How about that?
Oh, how lovely! Yeah,
isn't that sweet? Yeah. So, where would you like to continue with this bit? First of all, I have got my mates here. Graham, Sue, and Alex. Welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for being here.
No, thanks for having us.
Just on the carrot cake, I'm surprised I didn't turn to him and say, "What's up, Doc?" But yeah.
No, he was. It was sort of like that Goodwill Hunting, the janitor having all this secret knowledge. Anyway, a genius janitor type deal.
Yeah, playing it dumb on the surface, the brains behind the outfit, behind the scenes at night. I find it interesting that we've basically time jumped at least 7-8 years here. For the, I don't know if it's the conclusion of the actual season 5 or for the events of the stuff with Matt Murdock's Daredevil in the previous movie. I can't remember what exactly the time.
All I remember is that at the end of Trial, the one before this, he does allude to the fact that he's heading to some research place at the end of it.
Okay,
now, whether it's segueing straight into this or whether that's a missing adventure, I'm not clear on.
The only reason the 7 years comes up is because he does mention it's been 7 years since I've changed, and obviously the mugging after Fox for his wages was his first transformation in a while.
Yeah, and then from that moment on, there was so much Hulk in this movie. Oh my gosh. If you guys like the Lou Ferrigno, if you like the Hulk and more than, like you like David Banner, this is your movie. This is actually the best kind of movie up until Thor Ragnarok. This is the Hulk being amazing in the Hulk. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about that.
I think this is a record-breaking amount of Hulk outs in one feature-length one. He has 5 in this.
5,
5 Hulk outs.
Yeah.
But interestingly, even though the Hulk might seem like he's in it a lot, the Hulk outs are very brief.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's in it 5 times, but they're not long Hulk outs.
I think what the issue is this was what 91. This came out, so it would have been produced in 1990. I don't know what Lou Ferrigno was technically doing at the time. I'm assuming he was whining and dining with the boys and Hotel Hollywood Bowl and all that with Schwarzenegger and all that by that time, and they were opening all the chains of restaurants. So that's all the bodybuilding type guys there,
Yeah, actually, this movie came out in 1990, Graham.
Was it 90? On which case?
90, yeah.
So just say, yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, the last one, the one before was 80. They came out one a year, 88 to 90. The 3 of them.
Right. Okay, so I was a year out on that, but either way, so it would have been made in 89 and in 90. So yeah.
Probably maybe the tail end of 89 it was being made. Yeah, but it came out around around February, March time, 1990, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
I mean, they don't take very long to make those sort of TV movies. Probably about a month, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably the equivalent of 2, maybe 3 TV episodes.
Yeah. About 2, 45 minutes. 90 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like a double episode,
Yeah, it's that. But what I find interesting is it actually makes a bit more sense. It ends if it was made in 89, it came out in 90. Round about then, obviously the Cold War had just ended in real life, and we're ending with a bang here with a Russian spy espionage type deal. So with the KGB and all the rest of it and all the Russian lot. So
and talking about these super soldiers.
That kind of makes a lot more sense now if this thing was produced in 89. So there you go. Yeah.
89, 90. Yeah, 90 anyway. Yeah, it may have been even filmed in 90. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
Well, it's definitely been finished in 90 and then went to print, or went to the theatre or whatever. So,
but interestingly, when David goes and leaves work and goes and he's going to collect his wages from the bank. Now I've got to admit, for a janitor position, $310 is pretty healthy.
Back in 89, right.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's a month's wages back then or whether that's his weekly wages.
I think old Mr. Pratt took a shine to him and he just slipped him an extra couple of Benjamins there because he thinks he's dumb and stupid. Could be that.
And the young guy is eyeing him up outside, looking at, the old check there, thinking, "Oh, money time. Good-ching."
Yeah, there you go.
The young guy at the back goes in, follows him in.
Money time.
And the lady, here's a little thing for you. The lady
he was making almost $8 an hour.
Yeah, I mean that's what most people earn now.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, that's like just above minimum wage over here now, and that's 30 years on. We haven't moved much, have we? Christ Almighty, nothing's improved much since then, not wage-wise, anyway.
Well, especially if you're not union.
Anyway.
Exactly, yeah. Anyway, the lady who serves him the dollars is none other than Carla Ferrigno, Lou's wife.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And they're still married now.
Time. Yeah.
They're still, she was dishing out the greens as well, yeah.
At the end of the day, well, there you go. You've just said the joke for me. Yeah, well done. Yep.
Sorry to steal your thunder there, mate.
Nah, not a problem, mate.
You'll get your own back later on anyway.
Always.
You've got all the quips ready, don't worry. So yes. So David gets his bucks and she says, "What are you going to spend it on, David?" He says, "Movies and popcorn."
Movies and popcorn, why not?
It's a great American dream, she says.
Yeah, don't get Pepsi. There we go,
yeah. He didn't seem bothered about that, though, yeah. So anyway, he goes back out, and the young fella calls him to one side.
Yeah.
And he says, I don't think so, mate. He says, "Why is that?" He says, "Well, you look like you get a job in that." So he says, "Thanks very much," and off he goes limping, you see. David suddenly feels sorry for him, follows him.
Rookie mistake, yep.
Bad mistake. Two guys come out, put these bins, block his way with these two trash bins and say, "Cough up, it's pay time." And David says,
on the way block. Yeah.
"I don't think you want to do that," he says to them. "It's a bad idea." But they don't listen.
Hulk number one. Yeah.
Rough him up, and away go the eyes. So here we go.
Yeah, that was a really cool. It was super quick, and it was like he was really, it was really intense. It was he had a lot of the transition was such that there was so much energy in it. Anyway, that's. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely took out the trash here, and along came the cops.
Throwing people and putting.
Yeah, the bit I liked was that he didn't go through one wall; he went through 3 of them.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Man, that must have been a lot of plaster cast.
That was great. Yeah. And he even growls at the couple in the front room watching the telly. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, what the hell, man? They're always sitting there watching their Saturday night TV and you're growling like a big,
Disrupted their ambience. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Just as well they're only watching TV, but I digress.
And now they've got a new door, a new front door, a new side door.
They have, yeah. They could have a hell of a backdraft in there, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right behind them. That's going to be drafty in that house. Let's get some insulation in there. So we did the Hulk. He off he saunters, as they say. Well, not quite. Off he runs. He's done his little bit there, and
cut to the next day, right?
Yep. Where we finally get the subplot where Dr. Pratt is a genius scientist when it comes to DNA and the molecular structure of the human being. And he's working on some computer-generated stuff that But unbeknownst to him, he's got a little bit of help, like an elf overnight, helping him out in the workplace.
Yeah, and he's going through the proteins in the DNA strand, and he's trying to adjust them to, his own thing, and he adds like the A one at the beginning, and that's like the.
Yeah, basically, David's coming up with the correct formula for him as he sleeps or while he's not in the facility. And essentially, while that's going on, you are introduced to Yasmin, who we think is nobody at first, just playing squash with her workmates and whatnot. And then in come the KGB, and you find out there's more to Yasmin than meets the eye.
Yep.
My God, she even gets to Patrick Duffy in the shower as Oddjob walks in and says, "Come with me." So, yeah, why not?
Yeah, and takes her to see Andreas Katsoulas? His name is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tasha.
Yeah.
Kasha, yeah.
Who seems to be the
kind of the head kind of honcho kind of thing.
The head of the chain of operations, not the head of the whole
organization. No, we don't find out that there's someone else sort of like in league with him, as we go along. But yeah, initially he's the face of the.
So essentially, he threatens her by saying, "Look, you will do this one job for us. We've caught up with you again. You're doing one more job." And he persuades her with the caveat that her sister's been kidnapped.
Her sister will be killed.
Yeah, but I know that, but she's kidnapped to know.
Yeah, he shows a picture of her, doesn't he? Sort of her tied up and stuff, which of course was staged, as we find out. But but she doesn't know that. Yeah.
Hence why she's going to do this job, and it just so happens the job involves Dr. Pratt and his research. And now we have all the seeds of the story coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got basically being cajoled into, doing the job, going in there, getting that man at that institute. We want this fellow because of his knowledge, Dr. Pratt.
We want to create super soldier. We must break them.
Yeah. We want him kidnapped and get everything you can out of him. In return for a handsome wage, he says, "I'll put a bonus in there for you."
Handsome wage, your sister's freedom, and your excommunication from our organization.
Yeah. Exactly.
And later on, this same group forms around Bucky Barnes and creates a super soldier called the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, well, that's
after
a
while.
Story for another day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that,
we go back to David, don't we? And
the little elf known as David keeps working away on this DNA extraction. Dr. Pratt realizes with his good lady over coffee one morning, hang on, I'm getting help here. I don't care because I'm getting results. But then he goes to the well one too often one night, and he is, shall we say, caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because there he is coming in, and Ronald, the guy, Ronald Pratt. Ronald sees him on a monitor, doesn't he? Yeah. Coming in, he goes, "What's he doing cleaning at this time or whatever?" But then he gets suspicious, turns the camera, pans it round, sees David tinkering on the old computers. Yep. What's he up to? Confronts him, of course, and he says, "Look, if you give me something, David, before I call security." And then he tells him his name, Banner, and that's it. It starts clicking in.
Oh, because he already knew him and he'd read all of his research.
Yeah.
I knew you. I read all your papers and all this stuff,
So he's open and honest about his past, and then he has to tell the ultimate revelation with regards to his predicament.
Yeah.
And Ronald, with the assistance of his good lady, says that he will try and help. But in order to be able to help, he has to see the creature in action.
Yep.
David is hesitant about this, but ultimately agrees. And they then set up a chambers-like structure within his laboratory in order for said experiment to take place.
So they put him in a sort of electric cage, like a force field.
Yeah, with four panels around that said force field, force steel girder type things.
Yeah.
And the shock treatment begins.
Yeah.
When I was looking at this particular film, it looks like quite a lot. They've upped the budget just a wee bit because the technology in it looks pretty impressive.
Yeah.
For its time, all the MacGuffins there and stuff, and the equipment.
It could have been a case that we got a copy that was re-edited a couple of years later with some bells and whistles put on. You never know.
No, it was it was a made-for-TV movie, so they did have a bigger budget.
No, but
Alex, what network was that on?
Let me see. The original show was on CBS.
So this was on CBS.
But then they changed it to NBC for the TV movies.
NBC, there you go. Shot it.
And of course, they saved money because all of it was shot in Vancouver.
Yeah, tax breaks.
The whole movie was shot in Vancouver. So, it stretched so much further over there in Canada. Canadian dollar.
What's that about? Yeah.
So many American movies shot there, didn't they? I mean, a lot of the X-Files shot in Vancouver for the first few years, at least. Things like that.
Vancouver has a huge Hollywood, setup there. The shows Once Upon a Time and all of the Stargate franchises were all shot there.
Yeah, and a lot of your Arrowverse stuff is these days as well. But
true.
I get back to this. It's a case of they shock him, and he's resistant at first. He's hesitant. He doesn't want to bring out the big green fella. Then it's a case of out he pops, batten down the hatchet of the force field. Then there's is that a stun gun or something that's used to put a cut on his hand.
Yeah,
they've got a little tranquilizer thing on his shoulder or something, haven't they? And when he activates it, knocks him out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At the right moment, they put him out, and
so
they can test him.
Yeah, and then when the whole coat dies down, and it reverts back to David. He's obviously got both the cut in his hand.
You can see the cut. You can see the cut mending. Yeah, in front of their eyes.
They take photographic evidence of that, which Amy does. So.
Because this is really like playing into that super soldier in a sense, isn't it? It's like they can self-heal and things like that. And, if they could get DNA from him, what can they do with that,
Yeah.
Right.
Hence why the Russians are after this stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
That came
with the Hulk's powers, they could, tapping into some real major breakthrough there,
Essentially, as a result of all this, after everything's by the by and calmed down, Ronald decides, okay, let's give this a bath. Let's try and cure you in a few days' time. You just got to perfect the serum. So a couple of days later, everything's set up. David's strapped in. And the experiment is seemingly underway. But unfortunately, this is the night Yasmin shows up to carry out her dastardly plot of acquiring Ronald's information for the Russian KGB.
Right.
She does a good job here because she impersonates the security girl called Betty.
Security girl, Betty.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So meets her somewhere, doesn't she, in a shop before that, and manages to get her steal identity
and then is sequestered right in her monitor circle.
Interesting stuff.
And the security guy in the club. She gets his fingerprints. She gets it off the glass. Yeah, very clever. Right. Yeah. She knocks the old glass into a bag and puts a new one there. She gets his prints.
She really is well versed. She's good at her game.
Yeah. So she gets in there and has a bit of a scuffle with Betty at the desk. He comes running around the security guard and still sees her there, or at least he thinks it's her. Yeah. And lo and behold, she infiltrates. Gets into
the laboratory. While the experiment is underway, David's strapped in. There's nothing he could do.
And Ronald says, "Look, I'm going to have to shut it down." He goes, "No, because they only get one pop at doing it as well. That's the thing."
So essentially, he spies Yasmin impersonating Betty going through the files and gets knocked over and KO'd for his troubles. But in the process, bang, explosion, fire ensues. Well, yeah, but not before Yasmin does a good deed and moves him at the road of the fire, despite the fact that somehow Ronald's now in a coma.
From that fall, that's kind of strange, but yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. But she does pull him away. You're right there, a wee bit from the fire.
So
of course, the Hulk out's already happened, and
she gets away, but no way enough information that her bosses are satisfied with. As we alluded to, Ronald is now laid up in the hospital, and she's essentially given one last shot. But by doing so, she has to reveal the fact that David was the only other person in the laboratory at the time, before the green fella showed up. So now, the Russian mob is after David Banner.
Is after the Hulk.
Well, that him say, but they don't know he's a Hulk at the time.
Yeah. He gets away from that. Initially from the lab. I mean, he gets away. He breaks through an electric fence and off he goes. But we get to the point where those baddies, as you say, start chasing him down, don't they?
The trucks and whatnot. Yeah, the trucks.
That's right, and that's the first time he sees Yasmin. She's already in there with a gun.
Yeah.
And all that, and
basically says, "Go with him, or they'll kill you."
Yeah.
And then we Russian odd job gets told, "Okay, we're done with her. Shoot her."
He kicks. David kicks the gun, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That guy, but unfortunately, it hits her. I think on the shoulder, hits Yasmin. She goes down, and then there's loads of a bit of a crossfire going on, and they're cowering in the store,
and he gets shot.
The guy buggers off, in the one of them, but he goes off in the car. He legs it, one of the henchmen, and the other guy with the beard is lying there dying, and he says, he talks about her sister, and he says, "Do you know Yushenko is your sister? She's behind it, and oh my God, she's shot by this," and then he passes away.
Right.
So now David, he's trying to tend to her wounds, and she mentions that there's this place up in the mountains, which is just above where the lab is. We can go there, So that's where they head to, and that little
ruse.
The place where they go to, the hut or the cabin. Sorry. It's a really nice cabin. I'd love to have that as a holiday retreat. It's a sweet little cabin, that.
Yeah.
I really like that little set, and I don't know if that was a real place or not, but it looked really cool. Anyway, they go there, and he tends to her wounds.
Yes, the shotgun wound. Yeah,
that's right. With makeshift stuff, like with a coil, I think, or something like that, or small, almost like a soldering iron type thing.
Yep.
To stitch her up, and get her better. And a few things, few little revelations come out from that point, don't they? About what's going on. I mean, she's now found out that her sister is the head honcho from that guy that died.
Indeed, yeah.
So,
Russian odd job felt the beard. Yeah.
He did, the old beardy fella, yeah. And he's, would I lie to you now? He said before he died. Obviously, he wouldn't, So there we are in that neat little cabin, and so they can plan out their next, their next stage in this. And who wants to take that up, please?
Next on the docket, we have Ronald, who's still in his coma, and David and Yasmin employ a plan whereby to get to visit him in the hospital to try and wake him from said coma. And you see more of Yasmin's stellar espionage tricks coming into play here to get him access to the hospital and whatnot, disguised as doctors and nurses and whatnot, and stellar stuff again. Again, really good at her game.
Yeah. And they get to the bedside, and they are what do they do? They're like, you're talking about his past and stuff. trying to bring it back.
I think you recall the story about a stink bomb.
Stink bomb, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he was called Stinky or something at school, wasn't he? And,
Yeah.
And he said you cleared out the whole school with this stink bomb or something that he made. And you see, and that sort of connects something that sort of reaches him.
Yeah,
and Ronald smiles. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's brought out of his coma, and they make off, and then the chase ensues.
Well, they believe their job is done, and they're making plans to get the hell out of Dodge and start a new life together. We subsequently find out the following day on the radio that while being transported from, well, the following day, maybe a few days later, being transported from the hospital back to his laboratory, the KGB law have infiltrated the ambulance service and kidnapped the Pratts. Oh dear.
They have kidnapped the Pratts, indeed.
That's what I meant. The chase ensues.
It does.
Let's just think about that for a minute. The KGB kidnapped the Pratts.
Sorry, we have a very different British viewpoint of the word Pratt.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
it doesn't translate
I know what
everywhere.
you mean. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mileage there. It's the same with Darling from Blackadder. You could have so many jokes with that name.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't sound too good when you read it aloud, does it?
Oh,
yeah. So they kidnapped a pair of Pratts, basically, for want of a better word, and there we go. And I don't know who the Pratts are now, but they are. At this stage.
So let me ask you a question here. I know that I love my trivia and all this, but isn't it a little strange that it seems like I even said to Susie as I was watching this, I was like, is this trying to be like 3 or 4 movies in one? Like partially it's trying to be an action movie, and partially it's trying to be a spy movie.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's almost like they're trying too hard to have like 5 different subplots going on here.
Yeah, and this one was part of the hospital one.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in this one. They did have to pack a lot in. And the fact they probably needed a few more minutes, really, to be honest with you, because the ending seemed very rushed. So I think they packed everything in early. And
rushed wasn't the word for it, I'll tell you.
It was a very rushed ending, I thought.
And
they stretched it a bit more at the end.
And the other question I have is, I mean, I know Bill Bixby was, starting to direct, but and I know he did other shows as well that I haven't even mentioned.
Please don't.
Including one with John Stamos, ironically enough. But did we? I mean, I didn't really enjoy his characterization because it seemed like I didn't know if he was. I know he was acting, but it didn't seem. You know what I mean? In the TV show, he usually was very bright and ahead of his time compared to most of the characters. Where here, like you guys said, movies and popcorn. So I don't know if it was.
No, but that was the thing. He was playing dumb.
Right, but here's the other weird thing. Hopefully he was playing dumb, but then can you imagine, 12, 14 years of this stress? Would you start saying, well, either I'm going to start losing it or I'm going to play dumber so that I don't have to think too hard?
He was playing dumb, Alex, because if he wasn't playing dumb, Pratt wouldn't have got his DNA stuff done.
Oh, the Pratts, yes, the Pratts have been kidnapped. And that which was quite a good trick there as well. How they did that, with the 2 ambulances. You go that way, I'll go that way, and all that stuff. And so now, of course, all that dream that David and Yasmin was talking about.
It's on hold for the present, anyway.
Find somewhere nice, and I'll see you there. And all that. It's not going to really, it's not going to materialize at this point. So their dream is kind of a little bit, well, as you say, put on ice. But as we later find out, put on ice permanently.
The other places they could have took the Pratts, where did they take them? A frickin' airplane hangar.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah. Not the nicest place, really, is it?
No.
Is that meant to be? Yeah.
And the whole thing with the airplane was I mean, where were they going? Were they flying them back to Russia?
We'll never know, no. Although, one guy we've not touched upon, and I'm sorry I missed him because it totally slipped my mind, was the wee sadicist in the group who like to, use wee tools to cut people and yeah.
An actor called John Novak was him that played the guy in this one called Zed.
Zed, yeah.
Yeah, a man of few words, yeah.
Right, and he was famous for playing characters like that.
Anyway, shout out to Zed. He was very creative, and
he chooses his tools very carefully.
The interesting thing, so we're in this airport hangar. Cassia's Bella, is it Bella, the sister? Yeah, whatever her KGB name was, I keep forgetting. Is trying to convert.
Bella's a real name, and Vashenko was the boss name. Yeah.
It's trying to convince the Pratts to hand over the information. And, I'm not too sure if she succeeds or not, but she gives them 24 hours or until morning to make up their mind.
She says she's only going to. We'll leave you alone for an hour.
Oh, was it an hour? My bad.
Yeah.
Because the next minute it's night time. So
it wasn't very long. Yeah.
So
we'll let them leave you alone for an hour, she says, and if you tell us whatever, you have my word. You're free to go. And then,
I love the Pratt's response. She's very nice. Do you trust her? Not for 1 second.
Yeah. Not one bit, mate. Yeah. And rightly so too. She's a rotter.
This hour flies by, and somehow all of a sudden it's nightfall, and this allows David and Yasmin to infiltrate the hangar. Yeah, Zed, it's not having much luck, man. He's been waiting on a movie to have his wicked way with her, and it keeps getting interrupted, and he's not having much luck on that score,
But she gives him a bit of a fight, sort of thing. Well, briefly anyway, and then she meets. She gets thrust into back in front of the villains again, I believe, and meets her sister, the Rotten Apple. They have a slight little confrontation, not much, but they meet one another.
Yeah.
And all hell starts breaking loose, doesn't it? The cops arrive. There's a lot of gunfire going on.
I can't remember who tipped off the cops, but somebody did.
I don't know what happened there.
It was the FBI guy. There was somebody who was all.
Oh, there was another guy there. That's right. There was a younger guy. He was at the hospital thing earlier on when he was trying to find the ambulance. That abducted them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. David's there. Gets there, rather, and breaks the window.
Break in and get hold of the Pratts.
Pretend that hide the Pratts under the table.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you could have so much mileage with this, couldn't you?
Ronald and Amy. Yeah, okay, that might be better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that might be. No, I'm having too much fun, mate. Hide some Pratts on the
Welcome to 2020, the year of the Pratts.
Oh, God help us. Oh, Christ. Yeah. And so the pair of Pratts are under there. And pretending they've gone through the window when Andreas walks in, he thinks, oh, Christ, they got out the window, but they haven't. Of course, they're under the table.
A shoot-off begins between the feds and the KGB. Bodies are flying everywhere. You've got David and a couple of Pratts running down the air, the runways.
The runway, right?
Because Yasmin gets out, doesn't she? And they get in the old Zed and the sister bugger off in the plane, don't they? The little plane.
Bistek is booted before the plane.
They shoot. She shoots Kasia.
Kasia ends up on the runway.
Yeah. And he rolls around a bit, a bit over the top, acting, screaming, doesn't he?
Just a wee bit before he's getting shot.
Very strange. Yeah.
Weird one. Maybe he had a scalp, I don't know, but
that was a bit odd. That I thought, yeah.
So essentially, David sees Yasmin is in the line of fire. Leaves the Pratt standing there, who apparently just totally forgot in the middle of a runway with bullets flying around, because they just standing there like a couple of Pratts for the rest of the movie until they goes in 2 seconds.
Oh God!
And
And as soon as
yeah.
Oh, blimey.
and as soon as the plane takes off, the Hulk grabs the
Well, to be fair, he's running towards Yasmin, and a bullet grazes him, and you've got your final Hulk out, ironically.
right. So they take off in the plane, taxiing in the run to the runway,
Yeah.
and
This is where excuse my metaphor, but this is where the movie gets off the rails. This last 2 minute scene. So the plane goes up into the air. The Hulk's hanging onto the wheel. He somehow manages to infiltrate the, I guess we'll call it cargo bay portion.
yeah,
Bust through the aisle section and get to the cockpit.
yeah.
And then in the blink of an eye, Bella and old Zed there start firing bullets. They ricochet a wee bit. They explode the whole cockpit, kill the two of them, and the Hulk goes flying out to said plane that's now halved in two.
Right.
Yeah, amazingly, he didn't get blown to smithereens.
Yeah, and I mean, never mind that. How did the plane half? And then we have this ominous tune playing as he's falling to the ground, and you're like,
But the plane it was shot. That was the theory on it was that the plane.
I get you put a few bullets into the old petrol tank, it'll blow, but you're like, okay, quick way to dispense your last two remaining villains. There you go. Then you have the long descent down.
Yeah, fall.
We got the old slow-mo fall there.
I'd take to go make a cup of coffee, come back, and still hadn't fell.
And then he hits the ground. You see the ground crack under him. So kind of an impact there. That 600-pound Hulk on there, whatever it's on the tarmac.
So he's there
the ground
for a minute,
gives way under him.
And the de-Hulkification for the final time.
Oh, and that song playing, by the way. It was called. I can't remember who the artist was, but the song was called "And Something Ends," and on the chorus bit was actually Bill singing on it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and something. You actually hear Bill singing on it with the other, whoever the other singer is. You hear him harmonise. So that was Bill on there. Yeah. So that I suppose that was a neat little.
If only he knew.
As well,
ironic. Yeah.
But yeah, he changes back, and the facts are there as well.
And you're like, the cut was fine. He should be fine. I mean, he's went through worse than this, and it's like,
yeah.
What?
I mean, he should have.
I mean,
landed.
I kind of get it from the point of view. They didn't know they weren't coming back. Essentially, this was a cliffhanger for the next movie. But come on.
In the comic books, he fell for. He'd had falls from much higher, and had even had jumped a lot higher than the plane.
The only thing that gives it a slight pass is as if the host entity decides to get it by saying, "No, that's it, fine, I've had enough." Then obviously the Hulk dies. So that's it when it gives it a pass here.
Yeah, all right. True.
And the last words that David says is, "I am free."
Yeah.
Because Yasmin says we could be free, and Yasmin, I am free. And then he dies.
Of course, it's the helicopter all the way up into the skyline.
I like that bit.
That was a good effect.
Bit was quite neatly cut, actually. It's like going smaller and smaller and smaller. Like a little spotlight was getting smaller on them.
Yeah. And
then the light goes out. It was kind of like.
Yeah, kids, we had no idea we're supposed to be coming back for at least one more.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
they had no comprehension of a little thing called the internet. Yeah. So essentially, sorry guys if you were looking for a big flash bang wallop exit, but no, this is it until we get your God.
Your
MCU version. Ugh.
MCU, yeah.
No, that god awful one before the MCU.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, we Nick Nolte. Oh.
Right.
What about the fact that there's been what?
Oh, and the mutant Rottweilers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hasn't there been like 3 other versions of the Incredible Hulk since, or more?
You've had the one in the Marvel stuff. You've had the Ang Lee version.
Right, exactly.
And you've had the 3D. What was the one who was fighting Godzilla in the body trail? I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah, and the cartoon. Not even to mention the cartoon versions. which
the cartoon version is passable.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah.
So there we go, folks.
Yeah, he's featured in many media and still is. You know, one form or another. You know, it's still the story of the Hulk in many different faces continues in many universes.
In this universe, all of the other characters were integrated into the movies. Like this one was supposed to set up the She-Hulk. I agree. The whole Pratt thing and that whole thing was supposed to lead into the She-Hulk, and this and all these other characters were being added to the storyline. The Thor and Iron Man and stuff like that.
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
10 years too early for that stuff, man. That's how they shifted from live action to animation.
Oh, and another thing I forgot, way before this TV movie trilogy happened, several years before that, Bill had an idea to do a Hulk and Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
And he was going to get Nicholas Hammond in to play Spider-Man again. And they were going to do a film with those two in it, but it never took off. And they did try, though. Bill did try and pitch it.
And looking at some of the web effects back then, I'm surprised at the line.
Yeah. And that was going to be around 1984 time, several years before The Incredible Hulk Returns happened. Yeah, but it didn't take off.
Because he had his what was that, season and a half run about that time as well. So
because the even though I love it, not everybody else loved the TV version of the.
No, it had its issues, especially in the last 6 or so episodes. Yeah.
I mean, it was on the way out. So, and it was. The problem was there was so many episodes that it was almost a cop show. So it was kind of like they didn't even really keep with the formula, especially in the second season or season and a half of Spider-Man.
Not bad, folks. Not a bad 13-year run for old Bill Bixby there and Lou Rigno. So
agreed.
That was a good old stint when you think about it. Yeah, I mean, okay, there was gaps, obviously, between the TV series and the TV movies, but it was.
There was gaps for Peter Falk too, but still counts.
Yeah, lots of gaps, but he would come back. Yeah,
but the Incredible Hulk was really central to television, like good television,
bad television, indifferent television, all types of television.
I'm saying that the Incredible Hulk was the good television at the time. And I mean, the movies were made for TV, so they were good television as well. So I'm really glad that we got to do these and discuss all of these episodes. Yeah,
it's been a blast. And I don't know, Maestro, you want to cue up that piano one last time, or how do you want to end this? I mean,
I might have the old piano playing underneath as we talk, as we fade into the distance, as we go down that lonely highway together with our backpacks on.
And it's not the highway to heaven.
No, it's the highway.
I'm not alone, though.
The lonely woman and the lonely men.
No.
Yeah. As we amble down that highway, hitching a ride into who knows where. Which town are we going to go to next, and what adventure are we going to have? Yeah.
We might show up again. You'll never know. You'll never know where. You'll never know when. But all we know is
we will meet again.
There you go.
Some sunny day.
Oh God, Vera won. Okay, why not?
Just quickly to say, with our last couple of minutes left, for breath in us, I would like to say thank you, everyone that's listened to these shows. Can you believe that we've actually done 50 of these? This is our 50th.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good going, I think.
Half century, yeah.
So that's no mean feat, really. We're never ever going to do all of them. I mean, because there's like about 80 of them, and that's quite a lot. But we wanted to pick some selection out for you. Some of them you may not have seen for a long time. Some of them you may know, back to front. But you may want, after our little reviews, you may look at them again and think, oh, there's a few things I missed there. This is worth having a look at again. Or, hopefully we might have swayed you one direction or another. I don't know. But at least I hope you enjoyed them.
And while I have the chance, thanks, Frank. Do subscribe to his channel and hit the little bell so that you can, whenever he uploads these, to
Be notified.
Yeah, you're notified.
That's right. And thank you guys very much. Very quickly to people that were on it before, Beef, Brian, and Phil were on several of them. I'd like to thank those guys too. And of course, I'd like to thank my regular people here, Graham, Sue, and Alex. Thank you ever so much for being part of this. I really, truly appreciate it.
We have no wife, but we love being here nevertheless.
And for God's sake, don't Hulk out, you buggers.
Roar!
Brother.
Goodbye, folks. Thank you so much, and take care.